Now at 9, how a proposed federal gas tax holiday could impact local highway projects and how state officials feel about the proposal.
The Supreme Court hands gun rights advocates a major victory as Congress pushes ahead with a gun bill. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan. I'll be looking at those prices. President Biden proposing a 3-month federal gas tax holiday. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with local officials and representatives about this proposal.
The proposal would shave around 18 cents off the cost of gas for unleaded fuel and about a quarter off for diesel fuel. The federal gas tax pays for about 25% of state highway projects. If it were eliminated for 3 months, that's 3 months of lost revenue. Despite that, Steve Hale with KDOT says they're not concerned.
Our impression is that the revenues coming from the federal government towards our budget would not, even if reduced some, would not be significant enough to impact our overall budget or our projects that are now in process.
Hale says the funds they do receive are key to projects in the state.
Certainly, as we look for funding, as projects move into our pipeline as part of our Eisenhower Legacy Transportation Program, those federal funds are a component of our long-range planning. So certainly we look at those, and they're very important to our infrastructure.
On the Missouri side, officials with MoDOT tell us it's too early to know if the holiday would have an impact on state projects. We spoke with Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who says the tax holiday is little more than a gimmick and won't really ease the pain at the pump.
I mean, if you look at, filling up an F-150, for example, you'd get out of this over the whatever, 2 or 3 months it would last, you'd save about $30 or something. I mean, it's just, come on, it's insulting. It's really insulting. That's why I say, if he's serious about this, make it permanent. Make it permanent.
Senator Hawley says he would support a permanent tax cut and believes there's a way to pay for that cut.
I would support a permanent gas tax cut, and the way to pay for that would be to put a tariff on Chinese energy production, on Chinese solar panels and wind turbines and batteries. So if he were serious, he would open up American energy production and he would cut the gas tax permanently and tariff our competitors. But he's not going to do that.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
By the way, according to AAA, the Joplin area has the lowest average gas price in Missouri at $4.44 a gallon for regular unleaded. Oil executives from BP, Chevron, and several other companies were in D.C. Their appearance coming as the White House tries to find a solution to lower these gas prices. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more.
Oil company executives meeting with Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm today in Washington.
How did the meeting go?
It's very constructive.
The discussions come as the Biden administration renews its focus on lowering gas prices. Today, Granholm reportedly took banning or limiting fuel exports off the table as a way to reduce costs. President Biden did not attend, but he recently called on oil companies to do more to give families some relief.
Joe Biden came in and limited supply. The price of oil goes up based on the limited supply and a rising global demand.
Yesterday, the president called on Congress to suspend the federal gas tax for 3 months. But he's not getting much support for the idea, with some Democrats saying it wouldn't provide enough relief.
Instead of trying to get short-term pieces in, is we need to look at the longer arc of what drives prices. And when it's price gouging.
Meanwhile, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell returned to testify on Capitol Hill today, where he admitted the U.S. Central Bank misjudged the risk of high inflation. He also told lawmakers interest hikes intended to control inflation could lift unemployment numbers.
We have a labor market that's sort of unsustainably hot, and we're very far from our inflation target. We really need to restore price stability, get inflation back down to 2%.
Powell says if inflation slows, the Fed would not be as quick to lower interest rates this time around. At the White House, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
A federal lawsuit is challenging a decades-old Missouri law that limits the extent to which volunteers can provide ballot booth help to people who have disabilities or are unable to read or write. The lawsuit targets a 1977 Missouri law that says people can only provide voting assistance to one other person per election unless they are election judges or immediate family members. The suit says the law violates the Federal Voting Rights Act. A similar lawsuit is pending against an Arkansas law. Parents in Webb City were given a little peace of mind along with a free meal for their child. The Webb City Farmers Market offering free meals to kids during this summer. Today, the Webb City Police Department also handed out free child identification kits. Kits include forms that parents can fill out with their child's physical characteristics and fingerprints. Those forms, you never want to think of this, but it's good to have one, can then be turned in to authorities if the child goes missing.
Inside these kits, it's something that we've come up with. It's got the date, their name goes on there. When you open it up, it's got their fingerprints. It's got a place for their pictures. It's got all kinds of information in here that stays with the parents. We don't keep it, they keep it.
The Webb City Farmers Market takes place at King Jack Park on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. 4-Staters got a lesson on human trafficking in the workplace. The Crawford County Mental Health Center brought together area human resource professionals for today's seminar. The guest speaker of the meeting was Ada Hutchcraft, a spiritual care specialist from Ascension Via Christi. The presentation stressed the importance of observable signs to look for in the workplace and stigmas the professionals should be aware of.
So there's a high likelihood that at some point all of us are going to intersect with someone who is trafficked, and we won't see it unless we have the red flags in our thoughts, and we also won't respond unless we have compassion for the issue itself.
The participants were also taught about how to approach sensitive situations involving trafficking to protect the survivor and themselves. As Congress works to advance the most significant gun legislation in a generation, the Supreme Court hands down its most significant gun ruling in a decade. The court struck down New York's restrictive regulations for its concealed carry law, a move that expands gun rights. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has these details from Washington.
It's a major victory for gun rights advocates. The Supreme Court striking down a more than 100-year-old New York law regulating who can carry a gun in public. The 6-3 opinion was split along ideological lines, with the court's 3 liberal justices in dissent.
The lawful and legal gun owner of New York State is no longer going to be persecuted.
7 states have similar laws requiring people to prove why they need to carry a firearm. Proponents calling them common sense gun safety measures at a time when gun violence in cities nationwide is rising.
The gun laws in 40 of these states are still in place based on the decision. Not good enough, but I think it's a bad decision.
The ruling comes as Congress moves forward with a bipartisan gun bill aimed at keeping guns out of the hands of those deemed a danger to themselves and others. The legislation cleared a procedural vote just hours after the Supreme Court released its ruling.
This bill will strengthen our red flag laws and amplify them. It will strengthen our background check system.
However, some critics are calling the bill an overreach that steps on Second Amendment rights.
So what we should do is we ought to be increasing funding for law enforcement. We ought to be increasing the penalties for gun crimes.
The House must still pass the bill before it heads to President Biden's desk. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise is pushing Republicans to vote no on the measure, but Fox is told there are a handful of GOP members that could vote yes. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another 4-state hero. Nadine Johnson served in the U.S. Navy from 1942 to 45. Native of Pittsburgh, Johnson earned several awards. We are proud to thank Nadine Johnson right there. She's tonight's 4-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, a national championship wrestler leading a girls' clinic in Pittsburgh. Welcome back. Time now for that weather forecast.
Another hot one for us today. Temperatures right back up into lower 90s for afternoon highs. Heat indices up there as well as we work through the afternoon. You can actually see our temps over the past couple days. Lower 90s yesterday, and then officially lower 90s once again for us today. The overnight low is really not cooling off much either, as we only drop back into lower 70s. As of right now, upper 70s to near 80, and then a little pocket of even hotter once you get out into our far western counties where they really warmed up today. But it looks pretty good. 7th and Rangeline sitting at 80. East, southeasterly winds at about 10. Humidity is at 76%. We did get scattered showers and thunderstorms kind of pop up during the late afternoon hours, just kind of shift through, mainly on the Missouri side. Not a whole bunch, but at least some areas got a little bit of rain for us today. Now, nothing is going on outside here, but if you travel to the north, you can find showers and thunderstorms north central Kansas. These are moving east toward the Kansas City metro area. A few of those may clip our very far northern counties late tonight, but in general, most of us are going to end up staying dry. All right, starting the day, 6 o'clock in the morning, mid-70s. You can see those showers and thunderstorms kind of skirting our northern counties. We heat up near 90 by noon, and then most of us hotter into the mid-90s during the afternoon. Here's your day planner. We'll start at 71, 91 by noon. High temp, 96. South winds, 5 to 10. Very slight chance, 1 or 2 little thunder showers could pop up. Tomorrow night, we only drop back into the upper 70s. So it stays warm. Saturday afternoon, we'll start to get some thunderstorms in our very far northwestern counties, but most of us are going to be dry. We heat up, upper 90s for afternoon highs. Saturday evening, Saturday night, showers, thunderstorms start to get going. Some of these could be a little bit on the stronger side, but these are going to form on the north side of a cold front, so most likely not severe, but we could get some heavy amounts of rain, which we need. It's been fairly dry. We'll have those showers, those thunderstorms into Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon looks pretty good. Heat indices tomorrow about 105. Heat indices on Saturday about 105 to 110 degrees, so it's really going to get up there. Finally, with those scattered storms, Saturday night into Sunday morning, a cold front drops through. So we're looking at 80s on Sunday, 80s on Monday. Even Tuesday looks pretty good, and then we'll see a slow warming trend as we go through the week for us next week. 96 tomorrow, 98 Saturday, only 83 Sunday, 82 on Monday, 85 on Tuesday, back into the 90s as we head into the 4th of July holiday weekend. Also some chances for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Jordan?
All right, Doug, thanks so much. Missouri American Water has lifted a precautionary boil water advisory that was issued for around 150 customers in South Joplin. It was issued after a water main break caused water pressure to drop in the affected area. Tests since then have confirmed the water is safe. Here's a look at our tower camera, sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction, as work continues on the KOAM More Power Project. You can check it out anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Coming up, more protections for the transgender community.
President Biden implements sweeping changes to Title IX 50 years after the legislation was enacted. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington. More on that straight ahead.
Signatures may be a thing of the past for some deliveries through one company. FedEx announced they're soon going to be taking pictures of packages on your doorstep to provide proof of delivery when signatures aren't needed. This service is free and available for both FedEx Express and FedEx Ground deliveries. Now, the company says this feature will be tested in select markets before rolling out in time for those holidays. President Biden rolling back Trump-era rules associated with Title IX just days after the country celebrated 50 years since the civil rights law was adopted. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has details from D.C.
The Biden administration hoping to revoke several Trump-era mandates with proposed comprehensive changes to Title IX. The regulations would boost protections for transgender students across the country and would allow schools to investigate sexual misconduct at institutions without a formal complaint.
Every person deserves a chance to realize their full potential.
The spotlight has been on transgender athletes competing in sports as of late, with several sporting bodies struggling with ways to address the issue. It is still unclear exactly how the new proposal would affect sports. Advocacy groups are fearful laws restricting transgender athletes from women's competitions could eventually create a dangerous precedent.
In the U.S., trans people are under utter attack from all angles. When you're trying to single out trans women, you need to study trans women athletes.
Some lawmakers and former officials admit the issue is complicated, but say Mr. Biden's proposed changes are a step too far.
They would attempt to expand the definition of biological sex through a rulemaking process. It really is a bridge too far.
The action that the Biden administration is expected to announce today essentially erases the progress that Title IX has brought.
Passed in 1972, Title IX prohibits sex-based discrimination in any school or educational program that receives federal funding. President Biden's proposals come as several Republican-led states across the country have implemented legislation to ban transgender students from women's and girls' sports. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Still ahead, changing sleep recommendations.
New guidelines to keep your baby safe while sleeping. I'm Jeff Paul in Los Angeles. I've got the details coming up.
Juul going up in smoke. FDA ordering Juul Labs to stop selling its vape devices and cartridges. The move comes nearly 2 years after Juul applied for approval to keep selling e-cigarettes in the country. Juul has been a market leader among e-cigarette and vaping companies. It has been blamed for vaping's popularity with kids and teenagers as well. The company had limited its marketing and stopped selling fruity flavors in 2019. Juul says it respectfully disagrees with the FDA's findings and decision and has addressed all issues raised by the agency. FDA investigating a report of a child's death after consuming formula made by Abbott Laboratories. Abbott is the nation's largest manufacturer of formula. The FDA did not say which specific formula was consumed. The company is investigating the claims but say there was little product information to evaluate the case. The FDA did not say whether or not a recall would go into effect. Whether you're a new parent or a seasoned one, these helpful tips on safe sleeping practices for your little one, your newborn, will come in handy. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has more from Los Angeles.
The American Academy of Pediatrics is releasing new safe sleep guidelines for infants, the first updated study since 2016.
One nuance that's new this year is that we are saying flat. Babies who are at an incline actually have a harder time keeping their airway straight.
Researchers say babies should sleep in the same room as parents, but stay in separate beds for at least 6 months. According to the organization, other sleep environments like couches, armchairs, or cushions raise the risk of death by 67%. That rate jumps 5 to 10% if the baby is a preemie.
We want the baby to be on a firm, flat surface. So this would mean a crib, a bassinet, a portable crib, something like that. And we want nothing but the baby in there. So no bumper pads, no blankets, no pillows.
The AAP says crib bumpers have been linked to more than 100 infant deaths during the past 30 years. In the U.S., more than 3,000 babies die unexpectedly each year from sleep-related incidents.
The baby's face and mouth and nose can become obstructed by these items and may suffocate or may have problems with their oxygen levels.
Last month, President Biden signed the Safe Sleep for Babies Act into law, holding manufacturers of baby products to a new safety standard. The new law takes effect later this year, giving retailers and manufacturers time to comply. In Los Angeles, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
Dinner fit for a king, or winner of Best Show at the Westminster Dog Show. More on trumpets when next. Man, you can just see how much this pooch is enjoying this lunch. The Westminster Kennel Club's top dog is a bloodhound this year. Trumpets is the first bloodhound to win Best in Show at Westminster. Congratulations, buddy. Now, to celebrate his big win, he was treated to a steak lunch at Tavern on the Green in New York City's Central Park. Winning Best Show is a big deal in the dog world. More than 3,000 purebred dogs competed in the show this year. Trumpet had to beat out 6 other finalists for his prize. Plate licking good. Plate licking good. That's how you can tell. Congratulations, Trumpet. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away.
Now that it's summer, more people may be headed to the lake. But with water accidents already occurring, the GRDA has some tips so you can stay safe on the water. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with those details.
Plus, visit Pineville, Missouri, a ranch there helping heroes deal with mental struggles. Summertime means more people out in the water, but if you're heading out anytime soon, the Grand River Dam Authority has some tips to enjoy that water safely. KOAN's Bronte Sorotsky was at Grand Lake and has more on these tips.
4th of July is almost upon us, and this water is soon to be filled with boaters and people looking to cool down in the water. But if you are looking to do that this holiday, there are some safety tips to keep in mind.
4th of July is our busiest time on the water. That is our busy weekend.
we always see a lot more people come out that maybe haven't had a chance to come out earlier in the summer, or maybe won't come out again. But certainly, yes, 4th of July is really the peak boating season on Grand Lake.
Since Memorial Day weekend, the Grand River Dam Authority police have recovered one body from Grand Lake and one from Flint Creek. It's why they're stressing boating safety as we head into summer.
Well, there are 3 things that we always stress: boat smart, boat safe, and boat sober.
Boat smart, know about the vessel you're going to be operating. Boat sober, don't drink and drive a boat. But the biggest one, boat safe. Wear a life jacket.
We stress that to everybody. Wear your life jacket. Of course, Oklahoma law requires kids a certain age to have a life jacket on, and it also requires life jackets to be in the boat for everybody. But we like to see everybody have that jacket on.
With extra boaters on the water, the GRDA is also reminding everyone to take their time and to be careful.
The lake's big enough for everybody. You know, we expect a large crowd, but it's big enough to accommodate everybody if you'll just take your time and just enjoy yourself. So always watch out for the other guy, watch your speed, and make sure you're obeying the no wake signs in those areas under bridges and things like that.
In Langley, Oklahoma, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
If you do encounter an emergency on the water, call 911, of course, or Marine Band Channel 16 on your radio. The Rotary Club of Joplin is new recipients of the Rotarian of the Year Award. Congrats to Audie Dennis, the new Rotarian of the Award winner. The award is designated for the Rotarian who has clearly stood out in demonstrating service above self and commitment to the 4-way test during the previous year.
Very humbling, very humbling. I honestly was taken by surprise, and just to be nominated and recognized by a group of people the caliber of the members that we have in this club is very humbling.
The award was designed by Joplin artist Jorge Leyva. Old Missouri Bank and the Carthage Chamber of Commerce held the groundbreaking ceremony for start of their new bank. The new bank is going to be located right next door to the old one, and with a bigger bank, they're going to be adding at least 2 additional positions.
We've just been blown away by the support that customers and the community have given us, and so we're very excited to be working on our permanent facility here to be able to assist customers well into the future.
Workers at the bank are anticipating the construction to be completed next summer. Well, Heroes Ranch in Pineville, Missouri is offering veterans and first responders mental health training for free. KOAM's Amber Jenkins tells us how this ranch is impacting our area heroes.
There is a lack of mental health support for our combat veterans and first responders. A ranch in Pineville, Missouri has created the nation's first non-clinical program called Warrior Path to help our area heroes.
About the fact that there's over 22 veterans a day that are committing suicide, and that's not just the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, that's Vietnam veterans also. That's an issue, right? That's a challenge that is out there for us as a society to take on, and this is one of the ways that we're doing that.
The Warrior Path program was created by veterans for veterans. This peer-to-peer training is specifically tailored to the needs of veterans and first responders. Participants in the program appreciate the untraditional approach to healing and mental health.
When you look at it, normal like therapy, right, going to a therapist and treatment and those kind of things, it's good for some people. Right, but what we found is for a lot of veterans and first responders, training is actually what they need. And so that was one of the reasons why this program was specifically created, is that it is training. It's not therapy, it's not treatment, there's no doctors. This is a peer-to-peer program.
Large donations originally got the Warrior Path program started, but the donations and support from the community keeps the program growing and impacting heroes.
Whether it is larger donations by individuals or even small donations, you know, a donation of $25 or whatever it is makes a difference, okay? It doesn't matter how big or how small, everything here gets poured into what it is that we're doing here at Sheepdog.
Amber Jenkins, KOAM News Now, Pineville, Missouri.
You can contact the Warrior program at sheepdodia.org, sheepdodia.org to get involved. A bit later, the January 6th investigation continuing.
Former Trump justice officials testifying to the January 6th committee. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have a closer look coming up.
Another hot one for us today. Temperatures right back up into lower 90s for afternoon highs. Heat indices up there as well as we work through the afternoon. You can actually see our temps over the past couple days. Lower 90s yesterday, and then officially lower 90s once again for us today. The overnight low is really not cooling off much either, as we only drop back into lower 70s. As of right now, upper 70s to near 80, and then a little pocket of even hotter once you get out into our far western counties where they really warmed up today. But it looks pretty good. 7th and range line sitting at 80. East southeasterly winds at about 10. Humidity is at 76%. We did get scattered showers and thunderstorms kind of pop up during the late afternoon hours, just kind of shift through, mainly on the Missouri side. Not a whole bunch, but at least some areas got a little bit of rain for us today. Now nothing is going on outside here, but if you travel to the north, you can find showers and thunderstorms north central Kansas. These are moving east toward the Kansas City metro area. A few of those may clip our very far northern counties late tonight, but in general, most of us are going to end up staying dry. All right, starting the day, 6 o'clock in the morning, mid 70s. You can see those showers and thunderstorms kind of skirting our northern counties. We heat up near 90 by noon, and then most of us hotter into the mid 90s during the afternoon. Here's your day planner. We'll start at 71, 91 by noon. High temp 96, south winds 5 to 10, very slight chance 1 or 2 little thunder showers could pop up. Tomorrow night we only drop back into the upper 70s, so it stays warm. Saturday afternoon we'll start to get some thunderstorms in our very far northwestern counties, but most of us are going to be dry. We heat up, upper 90s for afternoon highs. Saturday evening, Saturday night, showers, thunderstorms start to get going. Some of these could be a little bit on the stronger side, but these are going to form on the north side of a cold front, so most likely not severe, but we could get some heavy amounts of rain, which we need. It's been fairly dry. We'll have those showers, those thunderstorms into Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon looks pretty good. Heat indices tomorrow about 105. Heat indices on Saturday about 105 to 110 degrees, so it's really going to get up there. Finally, with those scattered storms, Saturday night into Sunday morning, a cold front drops through. So we're looking at 80s on Sunday, 80s on Monday. Even Tuesday looks pretty good, and then we'll see a slow warming trend as we go through the week for us next week. 96 tomorrow, 98 Saturday, only 83 Sunday, 82 on Monday, 85 on Tuesday, back into the 90s as we head into the 4th of July holiday weekend. Also some chances for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Jordan?
Doug, thank you again. So if you're tired of having different charge cords for your phone, computer, smartwatch, you're not alone. Now, European lawmakers are doing something about it, and the U.S. Congress could soon follow. Fox's Evan Brown has more in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
It's become one of the biggest cultural arguments ever. What charger do you use, Apple Lightning or USB? Well, now Europe is taking the first step in ending that high-tech struggle, ruling all devices must switch over to the more universal USB-C by 2024. The European Parliament calls it a key step towards bolstering consumer confidence.
European consumers were frustrated with multiple chargers piling up within their homes. Now they will be able to use a single charger for all portable electronics.
The EU says the plan will save consumers more than $260 million every year. It ran into some resistance at first because it would force companies to make all their devices, from phones and tablets to computers and even cameras, use the USB-C charger instead of proprietary technology. Apple would feel the biggest impact after investing millions in its Lightning chargers, but the company says it is now testing a USB-C option for future iPhones, and most Apple computers already use USB technology for charging.
And we could be seeing some of those same rules here in the U.S. A group of Senate Democrats has already asked the Commerce Department to go ahead and follow Europe's lead and set a common charging standard. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has approved the Ohio State University's application to trademark the word the. Ohio State is probably going after the world too, but for now it's just the word the. The school says it allows Ohio State to control use of the on branded products associated with and sold through athletics and collegiate channels. A university spokesperson says "the" has been a rallying cry in the Ohio State community for years. Ugh. I'm a Michigan fan. That's okay though, because we won the big game last year. Coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws facing the St. Joe Mustangs tonight, plus local wrestlers participating in an all-girls clinic at Pittsburgh High School. Danny Terzer has the story and more next.
Pittsburgh High School hosts an all-girls wrestling clinic this afternoon, led by champion wrestler Nicole Moore. Moore is a U23 national champion and a two-time NAIA All-American at Baker University. Today, she led around 25 local girls through a 3-hour clinic. It was an opportunity for these wrestlers to learn skills and techniques from a female role model.
I'm just really glad now that we have other girls that are coming out of Kansas and they're like, okay, this is possible. So when you look around, you see all these girls doing it and you see all these girls fighting for this, and I love that. The fact that I can get back now and share my love of the sport with these girls it's the best thing ever. I hope they picked up on 1 or 2 things that they really liked, but I also try to have a lot of fun when I come in and do camps and share my love of wrestling with them. I think everyone left here with smiles on their face. They seem to enjoy themselves.
Over in Columbus, another wrestling camp is being held this week. Michael D'Agostino is leading the Get Wild Wrestling Camp. D'Agostino is a 2-time Division I NCAA All-American. It's a 2-day camp with sessions today and tomorrow.
At this age, it's just mostly about having fun at camp and also just learning the basics, because that's kind of where it's all going to start. I think a lot of these kids have only been wrestling 2 years maybe, so it's their first camp since because of COVID they didn't do camps, so for a lot of them this is their first wrestling camp, so you want to make a good experience and fun for them.
The Joplin Outlaws are in the middle of an 8-game road trip. They're 9-8 overall this season and have won 4 of their last 5 games. Joplin is in St. Joe this evening taking on the Mustangs. The season series with the Mustangs is tied at 1 game apiece. St. Joe leading right now 8-6 after putting up a big 6th inning. It's the 7th currently. At the Men's College World Series, Arkansas faces Ole Miss in an elimination game. The Rebels grind out the win today 2-0. Arkansas couldn't get much going off Ole Miss pitcher Dylan DeLucia. He went the distance today on the mound, striking out 7 batters, and Ole Miss will face Oklahoma in the World Series Finals. That's a look at sports. We're back after this.
Infertility and pregnancy loss may increase the risk of stroke later in life. Data gathered from 8 studies shows women with a history of infertility were at a 14% higher risk of non-fatal stroke. Doctors recommend early monitoring of women who've experienced miscarriage or stillbirth. New research published in the journal Neurology finds acupuncture can decrease headaches for people with chronic tension. Scientists found acupuncture reduced the average number of headaches per month by up to 50%. January 6th committee held another hearing investigating last year's Capitol riots. Today, the focus centered on former President Trump's efforts to pressure the Department of Justice to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has more details from Washington.
This is the committee's 5th hearing this month. Today, former Justice Department officials detailed their interactions with President Trump in the days leading up to the January 6th riots. Lawmakers on the January 6th committee hearing testimony from former Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, his top deputy Richard Donahue, and Stephen Engel.
Together, these public servants resisted Mr. Trump's effort to misuse the Justice Department as part of his plan to hold on to power.
Rosen, who took over for Attorney General Bill Barr, detailed his talks with former President Trump on his claims of election fraud.
We did not think that they were appropriate based on the facts and the law as we understood them.
Rosen said he threatened to resign and that more DOJ employees would follow if Mr. Trump replaced him with a lower-level official named Jeffrey Clark, who supported the president's false claims.
It was clear to us that there were a lot of people whispering in his ear, feeding him these conspiracy theories and allegations, and I felt that being very blunt in that conversation might help make it clear to the president that these allegations were simply not true.
And on Wednesday, federal authorities searched Clark's home in Virginia. Republicans on Capitol Hill have largely ignored and dismissed the hearings as a distraction.
This thing is a joke. This is not a congressional hearing.
Thursday's hearing is the last one scheduled for June. More hearings are set for next month. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, check out new movies at the movie theaters, also at home streaming. From a drama about the king of rock and roll to a superhero series return and more. Here's a look at new releases this week with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
We created a time paradox.
Season 3 of The Umbrella Academy is streaming on Netflix with more action-packed episodes. The stars say their family of superpowered siblings bring a lot of relatability, especially for longtime fans.
When I was growing up and I was watching certain shows, and I grew up with those shows, I would be with my cousins or my siblings, I'd be like, I'm so-and-so character. And I'm like, I'm so-and-so, and I'm so-and-so. And someone's like the Ninja Turtles. And I feel like at this point, we've gotten to that level of relatability with, like, from now, you know, teenagers that are now adults are watching the show.
I wish to promote you, Mr. Presley.
Hitting theaters, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, starring Austin Butler. The drama centers around the dynamic between Elvis Presley and his longtime manager, played by Tom Hanks, as the icon rose to fame. Ethan Hawke leads the supernatural thriller The Black Phone, about a boy held captive in a basement with a disconnected phone mysteriously ringing and possibly helping him find a way out.
Hi everybody, it's Marcel.
And Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, co-created and voiced by Jenny Slate, follows Marcel's journey to stardom as he searches for his family.
I think there's a lot of just really inherent comedy in when things are placed together but they're different size. Like Marcel is so small, but he has this kind of like these statements that feel rather grand.
Marcel's big screen debut brings an adventure of humor, heart, and adorableness for audiences of many ages. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All right, that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us for The News at 9. I'm going to leave you tonight with a unique view of kids in Chanute, Kansas, cooling off with some water. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.